So we're going to start this segment. We'll do ACC. Next segment we'll do Big Ten. And Josh, I know that we're Big 12 focused a lot of the time, but I'm very curious. And a lot of these guys, come and go and are kind of in the wheelhouse, so we can follow along. Miami dominates this list as well. They should, but PFF has a weird way of grading things, and the fact that, part of it is, how many snaps that they played. So, maybe they're not as big, but the depth that Miami has at wide receiver, all these guys should be higher than most of the people on the list. The fact that, FSU loses Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, but Ja'Kai Douglas not on the list. There's some things that I'm a little
There's a Stanford player on my ACC list, Paul. What's going on?
There's 2 SMU players on your ACC list as well.
That's true. Actually, you're right.
It is wild times, but I'll tell you, I would tell you right now, if I had to pick, the best receiver returning in the ACC is Xavier Restrepo. He's a first down if you can get it to him. His problem's always been quarterback, and with the 3 that they have, Jacoby George, who is fantastic, by the way, and now Sam Brown, they should be really, really good with Cam Ward. That should all play out pretty well. I think PFF will find themselves walking into this one even better because Cam Ward's going to get these guys the ball better than any of the, barely alive quarterbacks they've had over their careers have.
Yeah. You're telling me that a team coached by Mario Cristobal should be good? I don't know. He should be. Well, no, but this is totally correct. Restrepo is a guy that, completely hamstrung by the carouseling of the quarterbacks at Miami. I look at this list this conference is not especially deep at the wide receiver position. We're used to Pitt having some good guys. Carolina's had some really good ones come through recently. Obviously, Florida State, right? Did Clemson lose anybody off of last year's? I'm trying to think.
Bo Collins went to Notre Dame, and they weren't really good at that position anyway. That's
right.
That's where that the kind of the rubber met the road. For them.
Last year they refused to go to the portal and get anybody can get any separation. I forgot about that. Yeah,
that plan worked out so well for them. They decided to run it back.
They run it back. Dabo. Also, I want to shout out one guy that's on this. The graphics up. Sorry, I on our screen. All I see is us. Is the graphic on the screen?
Yes,
everybody
it is.
Can see it.
Yeah.
So the one guy I want to highlight is Eric Iomanor. I think it's how you say it.
Yeah.
Just giving the best corner in the country, Travis Hunter, the business last year. Could not cover him. Ball skills were good from Travis Hunter. He could not cover him. Just a really good athlete. And really, the thing about that was, all right, you got a guy that's draped all over. You can let it bother you, or you can just be like, you know what? I'm going to use my size. You throw it in my direction. I'm going to create enough of an angle. You get it around me. I'm going to go in and grab it. And that's a guy that this year, if Stanford's got anything, worthwhile in terms of a quarterback, he's a guy who can take a big jump. And then I want to see at Virginia Tech what my guy Jalen Lane does, because this passing attack has lost a bunch of quarterbacks. And that's a team, though, that in terms of returning production and what we're thinking about that offense, they should be really, really good, especially on the ground. But if you're going to be on the ground, that's probably going to open things up for one or two guys to have a big season through the air. So I think Jalen Lane's got a good chance to have a big season. And look, a lot of people are banking on Virginia Tech having a big season. If they do, he's going to be a massive reason why. So Miami, I'll believe it when I see it. Mm-hmm. They're certainly loaded in those positions and certainly have a quarterback who can help them. Virginia Tech, they've got a guy I think really does help them a lot in that area. And then also in terms of an individual performance, one that sticks out that I think about from last year, not being somebody who watched ACC football every week, definitely Iomanor is that for me.
I'm kind of surprised that, look, Stanford has the benefit of being Stanford. So, they're going to lose some transfers, obviously, but because they're Stanford, they can always be like, well, is the school you want to go to Stanford? No. So he's one of those guys I was just kind of surprised that didn't get in the portal. But again, it's Stanford. Like, not everything's about football, but he's one of the most talked about receivers in the country. And just looking across the list, of teams that aren't represented here, like the Carolina's not. FSU has pretty much all new starters across the board there.
FSU, yeah, that's the one where it's like, look, by the end of the year, is an FSU wide receiver going to be top 10? Or top 5 or more than one, probably,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but when you lose the guys they lost, come on. But Kobe Paysour at North Carolina is the most recognizable name they have coming back there. So I don't know, and Max Johnson is going to be the starting quarterback. So we don't know how that's going to go at UNC.
I can tell you how it's going to go. Not well.
I forgot he's there. I totally forgot Max Johnson is there. Also, Wake Forest will probably end up having a guy. Oh, Donovan Green for them is back after I think he might have been injured last year. I mean, It feels like Wake Forest always pulls out a receiver or two, whether it was Sage Surratt, who had a couple years ago, was really, really good. They had another guy. Greg Dortch was really, really good. So Donovan Green's a guy to watch from Wake.
Yeah, absolutely. So this list is not maybe as fervent as the Big Ten list or what that will be, but and also kind of shows you, look, this is the state of the ACC right now, where when we did the Big 12 list a couple days ago, that one it's full. The Big 12 has a lot of guys. The SEC has a lot of guys. The Big 10 will have a lot. The ACC is in a very weird transitional period right now, and the two best teams in it, Clemson and Florida State, year over year, don't have anybody on this list. Clemson desperately wants to get somebody on this list.
By choice, has nobody on this list.
Yeah, I mean they. Did you hear him say that all of our players are better than every player in the transfer portal?
Yeah, I watched them last year. It's not true. Especially not true.
Your recruits are fantastic. He's going to keep recruiting at a high level. They're going to keep winning. But the problem is that when you lose Bo Collins, and then look, here's the other one. The one I used in the video I did about him was Andrew Makuba, who's not a receiver, but he was the best defensive back in the ACC last year, and now he's in the SEC playing for Texas. You don't just go.
Yeah. What about the Goldman Sachs kid that was kicking for him last year?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. You can't. You want to go in the transfer portal and get a kicker?
Yeah.
Would have won
for the Big 12. By the way, question: was it Tataroa? Was he the number one?
He was. Yes, he was number one. Right, Garrett?
I was not here for Big 12.
He was not here. Let me see. I might still have that graphic, but yeah, he was. He was up there.
I had to think he's number one.
Yeah, but I think he was number one. Yeah, but then there were some other guys that not on the list at all, and maybe it's because they didn't have enough snaps. But it was Isaiah Bond wasn't on the SEC one, and I was.
That made no sense to me.
It made no sense at all. How they left off Isaiah Bond, and I would assume he played at least 250 snaps last year, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's why they left him off. So PFF's strange about this. In the next segment, we'll talk about the Big Ten. I'm sorry. We'll break these up a little bit so they're not so monotonous. We have another topic on the key games of next year. This is from Joel Klatt.